It's now been 3 weeks since the oligarchs installed Kamala Harris as the Democratic nominee for president. She's only done one press gaggle, and it lasted about 70 seconds. She's had some short scripted rallies here and there, and she's done 0 sit-down interviews. Even Tim Walz's dog now having a leg up on her by giving an interview to Vogue. Cute dog there. Kamala's campaign, it's kind of like a Seinfeld episode, complete with a sidekick that's bald and pudgy like George Costanza, and the main character right there, a joke. And the core of this show, all about nothing.
Like I have white guy tacos and
what is
like
that?
black,
like mayonnaise and tuna? What are you doing?
pretty much ground beef and cheese.
That's
and,
okay. Do you put any flavor in it?
No.
Oh.
Here's the deal.
Laugh now, Kamala, but we'll be crying if she's elected. On Friday, Kamala revealed herself to be a communist.
As president, I will go after the bad actors. And I will work to pass the first ever federal ban on price gauging on food.
Oh, Kamala, it's not gauging, it's gouging. She can't even pronounce her own policies in an effort to tackle the soaring inflation that she and Joe Biden fueled on day one of their regime by strangling the oil industry. Kamala, in a blatant attempt to try to distance herself from the Biden regime, announced that if elected, she'll institute the following: 3 million government-funded apartments, $25,000 handout for some first-time homebuyers, a cap on prescription drug costs, which President Trump already did, elimination of medical debt for millions, $6,000 child tax credit, price controls on food. First of all, like Glinda, the Good Witch in The Wizard of Oz, to Dorothy, Kamala, you already had this power, girl. Click your heels, get Joe to sign the executive orders and call it a day. But we know why she's not doing that now. We know why they're not doing it. Kamala is desperate to buy votes, and she wants to use our tax dollars to do it. Of course, a certain segment of the population will actually fall for this. And another segment will see their taxes go up to pay for all of it. As for the child tax credit increase, it's a good idea. Well, of course it is. J.D. Vance already proposed it last week.
The child tax credit has languished thanks to the Biden administration because Harris has failed to show fundamental leadership. Chuck Schumer's been unable to get it through the United States Senate, and we want to have a more pro-family policy. One of the things that you can do is make it bigger per child. I think we'd love to see it at a higher dollar value. And again, President Trump and I have proposed that. I mean, look, I'd love to see a child tax credit that's $5,000 per child, but you, of course, have to work with Congress to see how possible and viable that is.
So while the fake news criticized Vance's idea then, look at the headline right there. That's why it could be difficult. Take a look at how Kamala's idea is being covered. I mean, look at the difference, guys. The hypocrisy, it is frightening. So let's get this straight. The only good ideas Kamala has proposed, the child tax credit and the no tax on tips for service workers, actually came from the Trump campaign. I know it's shocking to realize that chameleon is also a copycat. As for Kamala's price control idea, that's not an original one either. According to a Bloomberg Reuters analysis, when Venezuela's Maduro instituted price controls back in 2013, inflation skyrocketed to well over 1,000,000%. And as for Kamala's food price gouging narrative, that high prices are simply a result of greedy grocers, well, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, average cost for businesses has risen just as much as costs charged to consumers. Kamala is clueless. The woman who has never held a private sector job in her entire life, she has no idea what she's doing. Drug cap costs, etc. They're great ideas, but a lot of them are not in practice. Even the radically left Washington Post has been calling out Kamala for her communist-style policies. So let's get this straight again. Kamala wants Americans to be beholden to the government for food, right? For housing, medicine, and I'm sure the taking away of your guns will also be proposed soon, too.
It has to be about a goal of saying everybody should end up in the same place. And since we didn't start in the same place, some folks might need more. Equitable distribution. Giving resources based on equity, understanding that we fight for equality, but we also need to fight for equity, understanding not everyone starts out at the same place.
You know, she has said that exact same phrase multiple times, and if that shouldn't end the election. The announcement of her economic policy, it should end it right here, right now. Because if Kamala's communist-style policies are implemented, it would be the largest government takeover in U.S. history, bigger than Obamacare. So as a child of parents who fled a communist regime, as many of you probably know as well, I know how all of this ends. Kamala's declaration of war on capitalism, it's the first step to total domination by the elite ruling class, the same class that ousted Joe and anointed her as a Democratic nominee, despite never receiving a single vote.